Hello everyone, so in this video we are going to solve a question of LeetCode, that is find and replace pattern. So let's start with the problem statement. Given a list of strings words and a string pattern, return a list of word side that matches the pattern. You can return the answer in any order. So basically in this question we have given a vector of strings, that is words, and we have also given a string pattern, and we need to match the pattern of the word with the pattern given to us, right? So let's see how we are defining these patterns, right? So let me just copy the first example from here, and let's take this example here, right? So let's say we have given this pattern first, right? We have given this pattern a b b. So if we just try to convert this pattern into some numerical form, so what can we write is, we can write a as 1, b as 2, and another b as 2, right? So we have got a pattern of 1 2 2, right? Similarly, if we see here, we can start with 1, right? Whenever we encounter a character we can start with 1, and whenever we encounter another character we can increment the count, right? So similar thing we will be doing in these patterns. So let's say if we start with the first word, so for the first word we have pattern as, let's say for a we have 1, for b we have 2, and for c we have 3, right? So this pattern and this pattern is not matching, so we cannot consider this string, right? Now let's see for the next string. Next we have d e q. So if we write the pattern from 1, so d, let's consider d as 1, e as 2, and q as 3, right? Again this pattern is not matching with the pattern given to us, so we cannot consider this. Now let's see for m double e. So for m let's consider 1, for e let's consider 2, and for e we already considered 2, so let's write 2 again. Now this pattern and the pattern given to us is matching, so we can consider this as a possible count, right? Similarly, let's see for the next pattern. Next we have a q q. So let's say for a we take 1, for q we take 2, for again we get q, so we again take 2, right? So this pattern is also matching with the pattern given to us. We can count this as a possible count. And then we have d k d. So the pattern formed here is 1, then for k we have 2, then for d again we have 1. So this is not similar to the pattern given to us, so we cannot consider this. Now let's see for the last case. For the last case we have 1 1 1, as all the characters are similar, so this is also not matching, so we cannot take this, right? So after iterating through the words vector, we found out that only two patterns are matching, right? So we will be returning only two patterns, that is M double E, and the second one is A, Q, and Q, right? These are the two patterns we need to return from here. Let's see the answer. Yeah, this is the same answer here. So I hope the example is clear to you. Let's see how can we approach this question. So we will be approaching in a similar manner. First we will find out the pattern for the pattern given to us, then we will find out the patterns for the words given to us, right? So let's say we first find out the pattern of the pattern given to us. So we have a, b, and b, right? So if we find out the pattern of this, so for this let's make a hash map here in which we will be storing the mapping of each character, as well as let's take a variable. Let's take j here, and initially it is 0. Right, now let's start the pattern here. So let's take, for a we start with the character 1, right? Now we move to the next one. So for this a we store 1 into the hash map, right? Now we go to b. Now b is not present in the map, so we need to make another choice for this, right? So what we can do is, we can increment j, right? And we can just take the same one and add j in this, right? So after adding j, so 1 as a character plus 1 will give us 2, so we will get 2 as a character here, right? So we will get 2 as a character here, and we will store the same thing into a hash map, right? Now again we get b. Now this b is already present in the hash map, so we will just take the value from here, and at the end we got a string 1, 2 and 2, right? So this is the pattern for the pattern given to us. Similarly, we will find out the pattern for each word, and after finding out the pattern of the each word, we will just match the pattern, right? Let's say we store the pattern into a string s, and after finding out the pattern of each word in the each iteration, so we will store the pattern of each word into a string t, and we will just match both the string, right? After matching both the string, if the strings are similar, then we can take that string, right? Otherwise we won't be taking that string. So this is the approach, and I hope the approach is clear to you. If you still have any doubt in this approach, feel free to comment it down. I will try to explain it again. Let's move to the coding part. So let's first code the function to find out the pattern. So let's take a function here which will be returning the string, and let's name it fun, and let's take a string s, and now let's make a map which will be storing the mapping of the characters, and also take a integer j is equal to 0. Now let's run a for loop for auto xs which will be iterating through the string given to us. Now let's check if this character, right, this x will be representing each character of the string, right? So if this character is not present in the map, then we need to store this into the map, right? So let's write the condition here. If m dot find x equal to m dot end, it means this is not present in the map. So what can we do is we can store this into the map. So m of x is equal to character 1 plus j, and let's increment j so that we can get the unique value of j in the next iteration, right? So this is fine, and at the end just push back into a string. So let's take a string here which we will be returning from here. So let's take a string temp, and let's store the current character into it. So temp dot push back, and let's add m of x, right? This m of x will be containing the pattern of the particular character, right? So at the end just return temporary string from here, right? So what we are returning from here, we are just returning this pattern, right? These pattern, this is 1 2 2 1 2 3, right? These patterns we are returning from here. Now let's take a string in the main function, right? Like this is a function which we will be returning from here. So let's take a string, and let's take s is equal to, let's call this function here, and let's call for pattern, right? So fun and pattern. Alright, so we are just finding out the pattern of the pattern string given to us, right? Now let's check for the each t string, right? So for this, let's run a for loop for auto x and words. Now also take a vector answer which will be returning the answer from here. So vector of a string answer. Now let's find out the pattern for each word. So let's take this into a string t is equal to fun x, and let's check if s is equal to t. If this is equal, then let's store into the answer vector. So answer dot push back, and let's store this into the answer. So answer dot push back x, and at the end just return answer from here. Alright, I hope this should work fine. Let's try to run this on a sample test cases. Yeah, it's working fine. So let's just submit this. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. So the time complexity for this solution is bigger of n into k, because let's say n is the size of the string, right, and k is the size of the words vector, right? Because we are just multiplying the time complexity, because we are just calling this string function for the each word. That is why the time complexity would be bigger of n into k, and the space complexity is bigger of 26, because at max we will be storing 26 characters into the map, right? So I hope the approach and solution is clear to you. If you still have any doubt in this question, feel free to comment it down. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next video.